Strasbourg, good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, after that presentation of Dr. Roke about Spire, I think it will be extremely difficult to impress you after such a project combining 20% of the European economy and with a total budget of 1.4, maybe more billion euro only private money. In total, this gives 3 billion. And I will present you also another project of the same dimension. And I think that shows the relevance of the bioeconomy in the European discussion. Now, because it's difficult to impress you, I changed the concept of my presentation a little bit, and I will try to alarm you, to shock you, to show you the decisive time we are in, and that it's time to decide now about the contribution to the bioeconomy. It's not just for technology like joint projects in automotive manufacturing, for example. It's really a disruptive new concept of technologies and the economy. Now, this slide shows the current fossil-based economy. There are a few regions in the world which are where so much oil is produced and exported. It only shows the export channels of the oil. And these are exported to the industrial centers in the world. For sure, Russia is also an industrial center, but this shows, as I showed you before, the exporting channels of oil. What is important here is the producing regions are different from the consuming regions. And what is also in this slide here is it is very easy to ship oil. It's easy to produce, it's easy to ship, it's easy to store, it's stable, it doesn't degrade, so its logistics is very cheap. Now the next slide. The next slide shows you the concept of bioeconomy. Again, it is what is shown here are the expected biomass trade routes in 2020. Biomass will be produced in South America, Malaysia, or Southeast Asia in general, in Africa, North America, and for sure, again, Russia. Russia, again, has a very good position in that play. And the biomass itself, or precursors, I will come to that later, what will be more presumably, will be transported to the industrial regions in the world. Whether these industrial regions stay the most important industrial regions, we will see. I have doubts that this will change, that this will stay. We will see a dramatic change in that routes, and this is what the disruptive power of the bioeconomy is. And now I will tell you an example why this is a decisive time. In the end, this bioeconomy will make money. My title is a commercial realization. And who will make the money? Now, I will give you this example why this is now a crucial time. All of you use a cell phone. Many of you use GPS. One of the building blocks, the technical building blocks behind these both technologies is satellite technology. Now, who makes money today from telecommunication and from GPS? It's the US. It's the US because they have been 50 years ago, 40 years ago, the leaders in satellite technology. At that time, without knowing that someday there will be a GPS or there will be a cell phone. That wasn't known at that time. Now, was it obvious that the US will be the winner in that technology? You here in Russia, you know best that this was not the case. The first human-made body in space was Russian, was Sputnik. The first dog in space was Russian, Laika. The first man in space, Russian, Gagarin. The first space docking, Russian. The first spacewalk, Russian. The first human-made body on the moon, Russian. But now it comes. Then President Kennedy published a vision. And you might remember his words, we decided to go to the moon. This vision today you may call a blueprint. Obama says we decide to make the bioeconomy. And this is not only Obama, we have the European vision, we have Horizon 2020, we have a German vision, the bioeconomy vision in Germany, the Netherlands follow that way, Brazil follows that way, Malaysia follows that way. By the way, Malaysia, the biomass strategy, I recommend to read that. It's a very clever document. And from that point, when this vision is published, there's a lot of energy released. And this was the starting point for the Americans to be first on the moon and to be in the end the winners of the satellite race, and now to make money. And this is again the key word, to make money from satellites. And they used, I would say, the first mover advantage. And now those companies, those economies who realize the potential of the bioeconomy, they again will have the first mover advantage. And I can tell you, for example, that, or you might know, that the US decided to have to 20-50% of the military gas for ships, for cars, for tanks, for aircraft, bio-based. So they create a market. And therefore I think it's crucial now to decide to join forces and to go into the bioeconomy. Now, but there are challenges, and I will come to that. The bioeconomy will produce the very same product groups as a fossil economy. It will produce energy carriers, it will produce platform chemicals, precursors for chemical production. I say here it will provide, but it also must provide. So, after the oil, which will take some decades, we will have a lot of oil, but there will be a time after oil. We must rely on these carbon sources here, and they will be very limited. Why do I tell you they will be very limited? I made a very simplified calculation. I just calculated the carbon we use today. Now, today 3.3 billion tons of carbon from oil, 3.9 billion oil are consumed, produced and consumed. 3.3 billion tons. The role of Russia is relevant. 0.4 billion tons of carbon are produced here by Russia. To give you just two examples of carbon produced from wheat biomass and from 900 million tons of food worldwide, this is 0.6 billion tons, but we need 3.3 billion. There is more than sugar produced and so on, I know, but in the end, if you calculate all these biomass, it is very limited. Russia has also here, again, a dominant role. 90 billion tons of carbon are produced here only from wheat biomass and from wood, so the position concerning feedstock of Russia will be very strong in the future. But in the end, biocarbon will be very limited, and biocarbon will gain value. The next challenge. Biocarbon logistics is very expensive. If you should be aware that oil is concentrated in a few regions in the world, 62% in the Middle East, 30% in the Americas, 10% in Russia. It is, as I told you in the beginning, very easy to ship through pipelines over thousands of miles to Europe, for example, or by ships. But in contrast, biomass is produced on huge areas all over the world. It's not concentrated. Alone wheat, 200 million hectare. In Russia, 42 million hectare. And it's harvested from huge areas. It is transported in relatively small volumes on trucks, on railway, not on tankers, not in pipelines. This makes it very expensive at the moment. We need new technologies here. And because the logistics is so expensive, the economy of scale is very limited. This is a big, big difference to the oil economy we have now. Compare the following. The biggest refinery in Germany, this is 1 out of 16, has a capacity of 16 million tons of oil per year. This is about 40 million tons of carbon. Compare that with the sugar production in Brazil. The whole sugar production of Brazil contains 15 million tons. One refinery, one sugar harvest of Brazil. And this sugar harvest here is 20% of the world production. On the other hand, the US planned to produce 60 billion liters of ethanol and calculate 400 biorefineries only for that. Another example. In Germany, 5,500 biogas plants produce 2,400 megawatt. This is equivalent to 5 traditional power plants. This is a difference of 1,000. So the economy of scale will be very limited, or I should use another word. We need other technologies to get the same economy of scale as in the oil economy. And from these challenges, I see the following strategy for the biorefineries. Biorefineries should be focused on those products where we need carbon. And this is chemicals, and this is long-distance fuel. Long-distance fuel for jets, for ships, maybe also for trucks. But for the majority of energy consumption, of energy production, where we use oil and gas and coal, today we need alternatives. We will not have enough biomass. Now, does it make sense to build biorefineries, starting here from biomass? Does it make sense to build them in a way that we also produce all the end products, the pharmaceutical, the adhesives, the cosmetics? I don't think so that this will make sense. It will make sense to do the first processing steps in biorefineries, to build, for example, or to produce, for example, biochemical precursors, to produce different polymers for different qualities, from medical implants down to films and trash bag. And they will also provide the simple molecules for energy carriers, the butanol, the ethanol, and other molecules. But from that, we will have to ship the biochemical precursors to the industrial centers. And I think this is a big potential for those countries who build biorefineries. Biorefineries will not only attract and be a market for biomass, they are also the first step in producing biochemical precursors and to build the chemical industries in those countries. Therefore, I think the industrial centers in part will move from the traditional centers into those regions where the biomass is. This is shown here again. You have seen that slide before, but I now added here these biorefineries, and we will see how much added value will stay here in these regions where the biomass is. It is not only the business of the biomass, it will also be the business of the output of biorefineries. And this is here the chance to accelerate and to capture the value of the bioeconomy through partnering. I skipped one slide where I showed that this future bioeconomy will be based on sugars and fatty acids, so CN. It will be based on CO and CO2. This is another story, to use CO and CO2 from syngas or even from industrial flue gases. And we will have also biogas, methane. CLIP is meanwhile an organization with more than 90 members, 40% of them all over the world, 60% still in Germany, 40% all over the world, some of them here in Russia. And therefore we have a network of innovation centers in all these technologies where we think we can link these competences to push in joint projects the bioeconomy and the technologies based on that. We have a very powerful network, and on the other hand, this network not only gives the opportunity to jointly develop these technologies, but also to market them. Because dictocellulosic digestion based on enzymes developed here in Russia and maybe being successful and economically here in Russia, this will also work in Canada, this will work in the US, to give you an example, this will work in Brazil and elsewhere, and also something which is developed here might work here in Russia. So we will try to accelerate the whole development by jointly developing but also marketing these technologies, and this will capture in the end the value and make the money. Well, with that, I would like to follow the presentation of Etta Hoge about Spire. The EU Next Framework Horizon 2020 with its huge potential has been presented here several times at this morning. Two PPPs, two public-private partnerships in our field are at the moment in preparation. The one has been just presented. The other is a PPP bio-based industries, which will be starting with biomass production, so with agriculture and silviculture. It will also focus on biomass harvesting, storage, logistics, and we must have the target to make biomass logistics so cheap that in the end the carbon has the same cost level as the carbon from fossil carbon sources. We will also address biomass processing and transformation, including refinery pilot and demonstration plants. Here we must have the target to get the same cost level and the same scale of economy as fossil-based processes. And I think it would be very helpful for both sides, for the European Union and for Russia, if one of these demonstration plants is built and invested where the biomass is, and this is in Russia. I think there's a big potential, and I'm here to find opportunities where we can realize such an idea and such a vision. But last but not least, I would like to invite you all to ACHEMA, the world's biggest chemical fair, but this chemical fair also shows what is happening. This time there is a 2-day session about the bioeconomy included in this ACHEMA, which will happen in Frankfurt in June. Clip is one of the co-organizers. If you need more information, please approach me. And last but not least, I would like to thank our supporters. At first here at the Bach Institute of Vladimir Popov, because he invited us 3 years ago to have an office and a presentation here in Moscow. This presentation is also funded by Evonik, by Biotechnology, by Biotechnology Services, by BioNRW, the Bio-Organization of North Westphalia, Germany, and the ministries in Berlin about research and development, and the Ministry of North Westphalia about research and innovation. With that, I would like to end, and thank you very much.